Hey everybody, Truth Surge here once again. Glad you could join me on this quest for Christian origins. We're talking about the idea that Jesus never actually existed as a person like we see in the Gospels, but he was a heavenly figure, a figure who was operating in the heavenly realms, who had been crucified at the beginning of time by the demons. If you haven't watched the previous videos, you might want to check those out. And in this video, we're going to see some corroboration for what we saw in the last video, but also we're going to see some new evidence, a new piece of evidence that's going to argue for the idea that Jesus was never actually a human being. And we're going to see a couple of pieces of evidence that fit in with that. I told you we'd look at a document showing an Orthodox Jesus and a mythical Jesus sort of blended into the same document. And that document is called the Ascension of Isaiah. We're going to look at this document, and it's going to not only corroborate the idea that the demons killed Jesus, but it's also going to fit in with the new piece of evidence that we have in the wings, waiting to be seen, waiting to be revealed. Anyway, before we get to the actual evidence, I wanted to touch on two things. One, why in the world am I spending so much time doing these videos? Well, I enjoy the topic, and also I had seen a lot of people on YouTube seeming to dismiss the theory and call it laughable, and then they would say that no or almost all scholars reject the theory. And I just wanted to address that for a second. Although it is true that almost every biblical scholar rejects this theory, it is also true that almost every biblical scholar is a Christian. And when you profess to worship the protagonist of the story, the main character, how on earth can you be unbiased in your examination of the story? So, a Christian can't accept the final conclusion of the Jesus myth theory, and therefore they don't investigate it at all. So it's really sort of a misnomer to say that almost all biblical scholars reject the theory. Basically, what you're doing is a double fallacy. Not only are you making an appeal to an authority, but you're making an appeal to an authoritative majority. Anyway, so I wanted to do these videos just to basically put the evidence on the table and sort of silence these people who are poo-pooing the idea prematurely without even reading anything about it. And so I wanted to lay it all out in a clear fashion, as clear as I could, so that way we could look at the issues, and actually see how strong or how weak the thing is. And so that was sort of my motivation in part for doing these. But like I said, I just enjoy the topic. So anyway, that's that. Now, the second thing I wanted to talk about before we actually get into the video is the definition of a certain word. And the word of the day is likeness. And I just want to touch on it because I'll talk about it again in the video, but likeness simply means a comparison between two things that are not exact, but they are similar in one or more respects. Usually the word meant a likeness of shape, physical appearance, but not always. In some instances, the word likeness was used to compare other characteristics. But the main point I want to make now is that no matter whether it was talking about a comparison between visual appearances or some other attribute, likeness was always a comparison between things that were not identical, that were not the same. Okay? A sculpture of an apple may have the likeness of an apple. In fact, they may look exactly the same. But a sculpture of an apple is not an apple. So we can compare them using the word like. It's a comparison word. This sculpture has an amazing likeness to an apple. This word and all the relating words like image, appearance, shape, form, these are going to come into play in this video. So anyway, I just want you to keep that in mind. And again, I'll look at it in more detail as we get into the video. So this video is going to be a bit long, so you may want to go grab a cold one, sit back, or if you don't have time to watch it now, bookmark it for later. But we're going to try and find out, did the early Christians really believe that Jesus was an actual human being, or if he only appeared to be human, simply looked like a human being? Let's go find out.